just take a moment and allow your eyes to close. And allow the awareness, the focus, the attention, the intention to pull from the world outside of you into the world inside of you. Allow the awareness to unhook itself from all of the sights, the sounds, the sensations in the world around you. And allow that awareness to anchor in your breath. Let the breath be like a magnet, an anchor for that awareness. If the mind wanders, just gently bring it back to the breath. There's a beautiful mantra you can add if you find that the mind is wandering too much. You can add this beautiful mantra of so hum, so hum. On the inhalations, allow yourself to chant silently to yourself. So, and on the exhalations, as you drop deeper and deeper into the core of your being, allow yourself to chant, hum, so on the inhalations, hum on the exhalations. It means I am that. I am one with all there is. One with the universe. One with the supreme reality. One with the Creator and one with the creation. so on the inhalations and hum on the exhalations. Slowly and gently, bring the palms of your hands together at chest level in Namaste. And gently rub the palms of your hands against each other. Press the palms of your hands into your closed eyes. Lower your hands and open your eyes. Welcome to Satsang. Are you able to actually hear me back there? भैया ये आवाज़ क्यों नहीं जा रही है लोगों के पास? किसी को सुनाई नहीं दे रही? Yeah. Yeah. शुरू से ही मैं Is it better now? Great. याद रखिएगा पहले से ही ऐसे रख लेते हैं. It's such a joy to be together. We start satsang always with a question that comes from our beautiful family joining us from all over the world online, and the gift of technology. And then we'll open it up to any questions that anyone here has. There's a microphone right here. So any questions that anyone has, just feel free to come up to the mic and share your name, share where you're from, and ask the question. Whatever happens in this life between people, is it because of a past life connection or something else? And this is asked by Priyanka on Instagram. Well, you can be sure that whatever happens between people, in yourself, between you and any aspect of life here on earth, it's because of something in the past karma. Everything that happens is due to something from the past. It's like saying, I have a garden, and in my garden there's apple trees, and there's orange trees, and there's tulips, and there's roses. Did something make all those things happen? Well, yeah, you planted seeds. Or someone planted seeds in your garden. And exactly the seeds that you plant are exactly the trees or the flowers that you're going to get. Same thing is true in life. The experiences that we have the ones that feel really sweet and beautiful, the ones that seem really bitter, they're all due to past karma, actions that we've done that are bearing their fruit. So when you ask, are things between people due to past connections? It's not always quite so simplistic. It's not always a matter of like, oh, you're having a conflict with this person in this life because in a past life you had some other situation with them and now you're working out the karma. It's not always quite as simplistic as that. You may be in a situation, in a relationship today, due to your past karma. That person may be in a situation, in a relationship with you today due to their past karma. But your past karma may not necessarily have overlapped. It's just that each of your past karmas has brought you into this moment where you're having this experience, because each of you has something to learn from this experience, from this relationship. But a lot of times people make it really simplistic, like, oh, you're fighting in this lifetime because, you've got unfinished business from a past life. It's not quite as human relationship centric as we think it is. The seeds that we plant bear trees. The trees bear fruit. The fruit that we have is due to seeds that we've planted in the past. The fruit that we'll have in the future is due to seeds that we are planting right now. Which is why right here, right now, is the time to plant the seeds for the fruit that you want tomorrow, next month, next year. But in your relationships, the highest goal of a relationship is not that the two of you should sort out whatever karmic business you've got. The highest goal in a relationship is that each of you, individually but through the power of the relationship together, should experience your highest truth and work out your karmic lessons. Deal with your karmic fruit, whatever metaphor works for you. But you've got a karmic bank account that needs to be dealt with, karmic lessons that have to be learned, fruit that has to be eaten. And in this relationship is the best way for you to have those experiences. So if you're having a struggle, for example, or a conflict, ask yourself, what is it here that I'm meant to learn? And I can promise you one thing, nobody is here to make somebody else change. So contrary to a lot of our belief that I'm in this relationship because through me I'm gonna show you what it means to be compassionate, to be nice, to be caring, to be tender. If it's the last thing I'll do, I'll teach you to be a good person. No, that's not why we're in relationship. We are in relationship to have our metaphoric buttons pushed, to have to do our psychological work, our emotional work, and through those lessons, through those challenges, through those experiences, difficult, beautiful, to get closer and closer and closer to our ultimate truth as one with the divine. It's where, in Indian tradition, couples are taught to see each other as God, as the divine. And a lot of people misunderstand that. Sometimes you'll hear a woman say something about, oh, well, for me, my husband is my God. And a lot of times people take that as oh my God, this is, a subjugation of women. And it isn't. There are other ways in which women's rights and equality certainly need some help, but this is not one of them. This is actually a beautiful teaching in the culture for both men and women of like, oh, okay, you're in the householder phase of life. Your dharma is marriage, but your highest dharma is connection with the divine, union with the divine. So how can you use that marriage to connect with the divine? If you're a man, how can you see that divine in your wife? If you're a woman, how can you see that divine in your husband? So it was never meant to be about obedience or subjugation. It was meant to be about using what seems like just a relationship, a personal relationship, a romantic relationship, of using that to get closer to God. Yeah, great. Other questions? Any question that anyone has? Yes, of course, please.
Pranam Sadhviji. My name is Mukund and I'm from Noida. I want to share like a personal struggle that I've been facing and get your guidance over there. So I've been realizing since quite some days that I get very itchy and I get very triggered very easily when I'm interacting with people. Even they don't mean to like attack me or say anything negative about me, but I perceive it that way, that okay, they are trying to attack me. And I don't usually shout or that, but I do get passive aggressive, and sometimes it does, like, or most of the times it does show up. And people have also called out that, it looks like there's a lot of resentment in you, or you're passive aggressive. And like many people have told me that it looks as if you are almost at war with yourself and with others. So what can I do about it? Like, people have told me things that start ignoring others, don't respond immediately, be self-aware, and these kind of things. But I don't know what exactly to do. And like, so my struggle is that I get very itchy, and like with my family, with friends, with colleagues at work, like even the slightest of remark or something which may be harmless to others, I perceive it as something like, oh, I need to show them their place, or I need to correct myself and respond and react.
Yeah, great. Okay. So couple of pieces here. First of all, when we get triggered, Pujya Swamiji says it great. He says we get triggered and we become a tiger. Like, somebody does something, they say something, we feel triggered, and then we act out, we lash out. It begins with a framework of mind, with a way of thinking. And that way of thinking is judgmental, it's suspicious, it's a sense of seeing negative in others, that they must be being mean, being obnoxious, being rude, that we always assume the worst in someone else. That what they're saying, they meant to be rude, or they were rude, or it was rude. I got insulted by it. This happens to a lot of us. And the solution is only within ourselves, so it's very beautiful that you have asked this question, because otherwise you see people who, it's like every single person they interact with is a problem. This one did this, and this one did this, and this one did that. And it's like, well, if you have a problem with one person, maybe they're the problem. But when you have a problem with everyone, or almost everyone, then it's really time to look within and to say, what is it in me that is either creating a situation where people actually become rude and obnoxious, or that is interpreting those things in that negative way? And then I, in my reaction, either react, I get hurt, I become passive aggressive, and the whole thing becomes very unhealthy in our own minds and in our relationship. I have found that the very best thing to do in life is always assume the best from another person. I've never gone wrong like that. I always assume the best. Somebody was rude to me, they must be having a bad day. Someone did something obnoxious, they must have not noticed, or they didn't know, or they couldn't help themselves. We give the benefit of the doubt when it's children. A kid, has a bad stomach and you pick them up and they throw up on you, or, they sit in your lap and they pee, or, you understand that wasn't meant to make you annoyed. We understand the baby's just doing what the baby does, like the baby burped up, the baby pees, the baby vomited. I happen to be there. I use the exact same way with everyone else. Because here's what I know for a fact. When we are feeling in joy inside ourselves, we share joy with others. When we are feeling love inside ourselves, we share love with others. When we are anchored and grounded spiritually, that's what comes out from us. And so if someone, knowingly, unknowingly, on purpose, by accident, is rude, is mean, is passive aggressive, is anything, what you can be sure is, there is trouble inside them. That's why enlightened masters, even just really happy people, are so nice to be around. Because when they're happy, they spread happiness. Right? Pujya Swamiji always says, when you're in peace, you're going to share peace and exude peace. And if you're in pieces, that's what you're going to share. So assume that anyone who does or says something that is hurtful to you is doing it because they are suffering inside. And what that does is it does two things. Number one, it stops you from judging yourself, because otherwise we're like, oh, I'm too sensitive, oh, I'm this. It stops you from judging. It takes you out of the intellectual question of was that really mean? Or is that just my interpretation? Am I projecting? And it takes you out of kind of the psychological mind games that we play with ourselves. Who's right? Who's wrong? Whose fault was it? Was it really mean? Did I interpret it the wrong way? Is it their fault? My fault? Doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. We're not here on earth to, go to court. We're here on earth to find peace. So assume if someone spoke to you in a certain way, treated you in a certain way that was hurtful, that it means that inside them something is not quite right. And have compassion for them. And always assume it has nothing to do with you. That no one set out today to insult you, to hurt you, to belittle you, to demean you. That whatever's going on is about them, not about you. And then, lastly, as you do that, as you start to cultivate more and more compassion, on its own, clarity will arise, and you'll realize, oh, of course they weren't actually being mean. Of course, I just misinterpreted that. But you can only do that from a place of compassion. When you are the judge and the jury in your brain, and you're upset, and you're insulted, and you feel hurt, we're not in a place of clarity. So first, just compassion. Somebody vomited on you, it means they're sick inside. Otherwise, most of us, somebody coughed on you, they sneezed on you, they're sick. Otherwise, we, manage to go through life without coughing and sneezing and vomiting on people. Except when we're really sick. So if someone is doing that, have compassion for them. And then, really try to have clarity within you. Why am I reacting so badly? What button is it in me that is being pushed? Because one of the core teachings of psychology is that that which upsets you so much about other people is always your own stuff. Somebody can only trigger you when it's your own stuff. And so rather than worrying about them, look at your own stuff. What is it? What are the things that trigger you so much? And actually heal them once and for all, rather than moving through your life just being triggered all the time. Getting angry, getting upset. What are those triggers? Heal them, work on it. Lastly, never react. Because when you assume the best in other people, when you're coming at it from compassion and love, and you're remembering that my highest goal is not to be justifiably angry, but my highest goal is to be in peace. Let it go. Let it go. Just, if you need to take some time in quiet, take some time in quiet. Take some time breathing. Chant a mantra, do some meditation, go for a jog, have a hot cup of tea, have a cold glass of water. Whatever you need to do to come out of reaction mode. Because every time you react like that, we literally become like Pavlov's dogs. You know, the dogs who started salivating at the sound of a bell. It's basically, we become like a stimulus and response machine. But as human beings, we're so much more than that. We're not just a stimulus response. We've got buddhi, we've got shuddhi, we've got vivek, we've got our sadhana. So allow yourself to really find that place within before you respond. Because otherwise, then it blows up. Okay? Wonderful. Other questions? Yes.
Namaste, Sadhviji. Sadhviji, how to eliminate fear from the side? Because at conscious level, I know that this particular situation or thing is like a creation of the mind. Like it has nothing to do with, something like to be fearful about. But still, I fear, knowing that there's nothing about to be fearful. So how to eliminate or work upon this fear?
Yeah, great. So, fear is biologically programmed into us. Don't feel badly about being afraid. It's programmed biologically into us for survival. However, we're here to accomplish a lot more than just surviving. And in that way, fear becomes an impediment, a challenge. The best way to work with it, first of all, is on a purely rational, intellectual level. Because here's what's interesting. Very frequently, the things that we fear are not actually the things that we should fear. So for example, and there's a whole interesting science of evolution behind all of this, but it's really interesting. If you look at the things that people have phobias of, they're things that were very, very dangerous hundreds of years ago. Snakes, enclosed places, high places, right? What is it that kills most of us today? Cars and guns. Nobody has a car phobia. Nobody has a gun phobia. In fact, they've tried. You cannot actually create a phobia of a gun or a car. But lots of people have fears. Claustrophobia, fear of being in a closed space. agoraphobia, fear of going outside of a closed space. Like all of these things that hundreds and thousands of years ago, but throughout the time that our brains were developing, were the things to be afraid of. The wide open savanna, oh my God, there could be like a lion hiding anywhere. Scary, be afraid. High places, enclosed places, like these are the things that our brains develop phobias of, even though the number of people who actually die in a wide open space or in an enclosed space or due to a snake bite or due to a high place unless they personally jump off and commit suicide, it's a tiny, 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 tiny infinitesimal number compared to the number of people who die by cars, by guns, by cigarettes, fried food, but like you cannot give somebody a samosa phobia or a cigarette phobia. And they're so much more likely to kill you. Okay, so enough of my fun scientific information, but it's interesting, I think, how we, like, what are we afraid of and how do we generate fear and where does it come from? So just understand it is in your biology. But there's a lot of things in our biology that spiritually we know not to do. We know that it's not good for us spiritually. Biologically, people want to like go and have sex with everybody they see when they're young. It's what keeps the species going. But we know morally, ethically, civilizationally, spiritually, like not a good idea. Restrain yourself. In the same way, fear arises biologically, biochemically. This is where your spirituality comes in. And it says, number one, is this thing I am afraid of really likely to harm me? Chances are it's not. Unless you have a fear of, cars or samosas. Have that logical conversation with yourself first. First, convince your rational mind that it really isn't going to harm you. And then, start doing what they call exposure therapy. So slowly, slowly, force yourself into those situations that make you afraid. Whatever it may be, force yourself in. Slowly at first, one step at a time. The last thing you want to do is give yourself a panic attack and then you don't try it again. But slowly, slowly, one step at a time. But keep taking steps, keep taking steps, keep taking steps. And what you're going to realize is, nothing happened. You can even get yourself ready for that by having the exposure therapy in your mind. Sitting in your meditation, lying in your bed, in a place that you feel totally safe. Picture yourself doing the things that you are afraid of, or the things happening that you're afraid of. Here you are, you're safe. And you imagine that, and I'm still safe. And I imagine it, and I'm still safe. And so that it gets you ready to walk into those situations. Do that. The third piece, on the deepest spiritual level, is faith. When a child is in the arms of the mother, it almost never cries. It cries until the mother picks it up. Whether it's in physical pain, whether it's afraid, whatever it is that's going on, the minute that the mother picks the child up, the tears typically stop. There's faith. My mom is here. My mom is here. I have a vivid recollection of being maybe 2, maybe 3, but definitely not any older than 3. 1.5, 2, 2.5, something like that. At a gas station with my mother in Los Angeles. And suddenly there was a shootout, literally guns. was tiny. I have no recollection of any more of the details, but I can actually picture it. I can picture the gas pumps. My mom had left me in the car to get out and pump the gas. And then she opened the car and she grabbed me into her arms. And we ran into the shop and waited a few minutes, and eventually whatever happened, coast was clear. Maybe the police came. I don't remember. But I mention it because everybody around was freaking out. I remember that. Everybody in the gas station, all the other customers, the people in the store, everybody was freaking out. Even my mom was kind of freaking out. But I wasn't. I have absolutely zero recollection of being concerned at all, and a vivid recollection of just feeling really like totally okay in the midst of everybody around me freaking out for some reason that I didn't really understand what was going on. When we're in the mother's arms, no matter what's going on, there's an inside sense of, it's okay. My mom's here. Have that faith in the divine. Knowing that wherever you are, whatever the situation is, whatever the challenges that you're being given, you're going to be okay. Doesn't mean you don't get challenges. Look at Bhagwan Ram's life, right? We just celebrated Dashera, challenge after challenge. But it means you're going to be okay. Because it means that you're being held and carried. So bring those different steps in. First, the intellectual understanding, then the exposure therapy, first in your mind, then actually in life, slowly, slowly. And then lastly, working on really strengthening your faith in the divine. Jo bhi ho jaye, aapki kripa hai, aapka prasad hai. Aur jo bhi ho jaye, aap to saath mein hai. Wonderful. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your evenings, everyone. A beautiful morning and day to our family joining from all over the world online. And just a reminder to all of you here and all of those of you online that these are streamed live, and so wherever you are in the world, if you miss them or you want to go back and revisit something, they are all there on YouTube, on Facebook. And we have a brand new podcast called Ask Sadhviji that actually gives the audio of all of these questions in the podcast. So whatever way you enjoy most of coming back and listening to the satsang, we've got lots of different opportunities for you. And if there are ways that you would prefer to listen to satsang that we're not yet offering, feel free to let us know. We sometimes find out about things only late in the game. So let us know if there's a way that we should be offering it that you would prefer, and then we'll offer it that way as well. But for now, we have all of this on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, and on the Ask Sadhviji podcast.